How can UTMs help track your marketing campaigns? So the first thing I'm going to share with you about what a UTM is and how it works. Let's just get a bit of a definition for now. So I'm on Wikipedia. It's probably the easiest place to start. We've got UTM parameters. So UTM parameters, just from a short perspective, is that it gives you a little bit of context on where people are coming from when you send out links out there in the internet universe. So Facebook, YouTube, emails, where are they coming from? Now, really, Google Analytics does give you some sense, but it's not perfect. It doesn't give you the ability to analyze and to get more details. In this case, I'm just looking at one of the websites. There's not a lot of traffic on this, but we do some UTM links on these. And you can see here from a session source, we've got Google Organic, Google Cost Per Click, which is CPC, but then we've got something called direct. Now, direct can be misleading as well. Direct means that we're typing in the URL, or it could also incorporate, maybe you sent an email to somebody. In the email is a link, maybe to your website or a landing page, and that is considered direct. But we don't know that. We don't know where that person came from. So if we were to have a UTM inside an email that said email maybe a topic or a campaign or something like that, then we would have a little bit more details about that. Signatures, email signatures. So everybody has an email signature, and at the very bottom, we have an example, a link maybe to your website. Well, if you added a UTM, you'll know how many people clicked that signature link to your website. Just enough information to know, do even people use these things? You can see we've got _M, we've got mailers, right? So here we have a perfect example where it says unassigned. If I didn't have a UTM, I would have no idea where that came from. But I know, based on my UTM here, it was from a direct mail campaign from a mailer that we've sent out. And I had, in this 1 week, 7 users click that link, and 7 sessions, meaning 4 people used that link, which is usually a QR code, and they used the QR code and they went back to our site. Special page, possibly a landing page that we have. So that's just in the world why you want to use a UTM. From a definition standpoint, a UTM is an urchin tracking module parameters. There's 5 variants to this. We've got content, medium, source, campaign, and the 5th one, term. So here's a great example. We've got source would be Google, a CPC, medium. The campaign was maybe a spring sale. You might put a year in there. A term might be running shoes, and then the content is a logo link. Identifies what specifically was clicked to bring the user to the site. It was a banner ad, it was a text link, it was a email content, email signature. You could do that, or just you could incorporate whatever. You can decide the best way to use your own UTMs. The only thing I want to make sure that you're very clear on is to be consistent with the UTMs, because you will come up with an absolute mess, and you won't, if you're not careful how you implement UTMs. How do we build UTMs? Now, there's one method that you can use, and Google actually has their own. It's called the Google UTM Builder. Just Google that, and it's a very, very simple tool. You put your URL in here, any ID, source, and it'll generate for you in this spot a UTM link. But what does that look like? A UTM link, and let's go back here, looks like this. So you can see how it's built out. Now, I've got a spreadsheet that I'm going to share with you. I'll put it in the description of the video. And you can use this and go to town with it. So you should be able to hit file and then make a copy. You can download it as an Excel spreadsheet if you'd like. And really what I've done is I've created a cell formula that takes all of this data into account and creates the UTM link for you. And so then all you need to do is copy this and put this in whatever URL or whatever campaign that you're building out. we start off with just the base URL. So just put yourcompany.com. And then I like to put some kind of purpose in there, a descriptive of what I'm trying to, why I'm building this out, the purpose of it. Now, what I do recommend, again, is using some drop-down feature. So what I recommend is using a separate sheet that you can create for your own company, what the source, the medium, the campaign, if you want to use terms and content. And that way, when you are building these out, again, you're consistent with what you're going to be using and generating over here. So by the time I come here, I know GBP is a link from the Google Business Profile. You can, now these 3 are required. So you have to fill out these 3, and then you can have whatever term you want, whatever content information, and it'll also include that as well. But in order for the link to work, so if I were to delete this, it wouldn't finish, it wouldn't complete. It would just have the UTM parameters without the actual guideline. Now, if I come back here and I add local SEO to it, now it's proper. And all I have to do is copy paste that in, again, wherever I need it to be. I do recommend a link if you are building this out for, as an example, I like to use direct mail, but I want to know if the direct mail is working. It's not perfect when I put UTMs on a direct mail, but it gives me more data than I had if I didn't. Because if I put just the website address on that postcard, then I'm not seeing, it'll come to my analytics as direct, because they're going to look at the postcard, they'll go to the site and they'll type that in, and that's a direct link. But I don't know that it actually came from a postcard that they got. I'll show you what it looks like over on a QR. So I use a tool called QR Code Generator. It allows me to create all kinds of different campaigns and different links. For example, this is one of the direct mails. Here's one, there's a remarketing rebrand, and we have a QR code. Now inside this QR code is the UTM link is included in here. So I think if I highlight it, let me just copy the link address. Now, once I enter this in, it'll show up on analytics, but that's okay. So you'll see here, I've got mailer and my DM, and that's what we saw here, a mailer and a DM. So that shows me this week, again, I had 4 different people use that postcard. And that's why I like the QR codes. I use these for trade shows, letters, postcards, billboards. You want to use QR codes possibly on TV, because it's a lot faster for me to pause my TV and use the QR code. And again, if I'm putting a TV ad and I want people to go to my website, I'd prefer if they have a QR code with the UTM. Now, most often you're going to have a special link for a TV. So the main domain isn't your company main domain. It's typically, it should be a landing page, so I know that TV ad worked. But if you're not doing that, throw up a QR code. I think that's faster than me trying to remember the domain name on a TV ad. If I have a QR code, I can whip out my phone, and now iPhones typically, it's built into the camera. I click it, and now I've got my own QR code for sure. That came from that TV ad. And if you're allowed to build out more QR codes, you could have the QR code by channel, by demographic, whatever. And now you've built out a full and complete tracker system. So one, for example, you would have maybe a TV ad, a TV show. Maybe I've got a client that does several cooking episodes, so possibly every link that she sends out in an email would incorporate the word episode. Now you can see it's not really organized in any fashion in terms of one goes one-to-one. I could have an active campaign, maybe that's part of a paid social, I don't know, somehow, or email, right? Or social campaign or some medium. But trade show, for me, that would be you might have that as the source would be the trade show. Then you'd have a medium would be, I don't know, a postcard at the trade show, a banner. So you might do, so here's the banner, right? A banner used at the trade show. And then the campaign for sure would be the trade show, the name of the trade show. That way, did the trade show work? Did we get people coming in from the trade show? Did they use it? Now, again, that's all dependent if they use the QR codes and they use your special links if you send out post trademark emails, post trade show emails, for sure use UTMs in that email. Hey, it was great to meet you. I promised you XYZ download, click this link, and it's the link has the UTM, so I know that that trade show generated one person who came and downloaded something. So there's just all different ways to think about this. Don't think so linearly. Try and build out as many UTMs as possible to a limit. I wouldn't go too far past this. Most small businesses don't need 30 or 40 different sources. This is probably the most you might ever use. I doubt even a TV show. But I think the point is that if you can remain consistent with your source medium and campaign, you can build a really great tool and get a better idea of your ROI on what's working and what's not working. So hopefully this has been helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. It would also be helpful if you liked the video and maybe even subscribe to the channel.